Orpheus and the Roots of Platonism. Quoting the essential James Hillman, A Blue Fire, pages 212 and 215. Melancholy and the awakening of one's genius are inseparable, say the texts. Yet for most of us there is much sadness and little genius, little consolation of philosophy, only the melancholic stare. What to do, what to do. Here our melancholy is trying to make knowledge, trying to see through. But the truth is that the melancholy is the knowledge. The poison is the antidote. This would be the Senex's most destructive insight. Our Senex order rests on Senex madness. Our order is itself a madness. Quoting Plato's Parmenides, to this we may add the conclusion, it seems that whether there is or is not a one, both that one and the others alike are and are not, and appear and do not appear to be, all manner of things in all manner of ways, with respect to themselves and to one another. Chapter 1. In Plato's Phaedrus, Socrates argues paradoxically that, quote, our greatest blessings come to us by way of madness, end quote. Ta magister ton agathon hemen gignatai dia manias. The four kinds of divine inspiration, or madness, are viewed as a divine gift provided by the Muses, Dionysus, Apollo, and Aphrodite, or Eros, respectively. In the same dialogue, the divine banquet is depicted as a metaphysical place of contemplation and vision. For Plato, the contemplation, theoria, of the eternal ideas transcends our rational ability to comprehend and analyse the ideas discursively. The desperate longing for this paradigmatic contemplation is imagined as a yearning for wings and the regained ability to fly to the divine banquet. Accordingly, this pressing desire is the desire for wholeness, for noetic integrity, and for one's true divine identity provided by dialectical searching, philosophical recollection, and erotic madness. The hierarchically organised troops of gods are led by Zeus. They lack both jealousy and passion, being involved neither in plots nor in heavenly wars. Quoting Charles L. Griswold's Self-Knowledge in Plato's Phaedrus. The gods have no need for madness, let alone erotic madness. Hence the gods are not philosophers. It is not surprising then that the gods seem to have no need for logos, let alone for rhetoric. Although there is a certain amount of noise in the heavens, there is no reference whatsoever to there being any discourse among the gods, or between gods and men. Therefore the Platonic philosopher, as the madman who nurtures wings, is the dialectically transformed speaker, the fallen soul encharmed by the magic of logos, whose apparently mad desire and erotic mania are not so much directly sent from the gods as sparkling from within it is a desire for the divine banquet and for wisdom. But the three other kinds of madness discussed in Plato's Phaedrus, namely poetic mania, telistic mania, and prophetic or mantic madness, mantic mania, indeed are sent by the gods. The Muses are specified as the source of the poetic inspiration and of the three forms of madness. Again quoting Charles Griswold's remarks, the poetic sort seems to be the closest to Socratic Platonic philosophizing, and hence to be its most complex antagonist. The telistic madness is anagogic, and leads the soul to its forgotten origins through the theurgic rites of ascent or other sacramental means of purification. The inspired telistic liturgies, telistiki, hieratiki, telesiorgia, theophoria, are not necessarily to be regarded straightforwardly as operations on the gods, thus deliberately and incorrectly equating the animated cultic statues located in the context of particular ritual communications with the invisible metaphysical principles themselves. Otherwise, tacitly or not, the polemical premises for a certain iconoclastic bias are maintained, and so H.J. Blumenthal puts too much weight on the verb theorgian, supposing that one who does theia erga is one who operates on the gods, thereby making theurgia nonsense. The mantic inspiration, or prophetic madness, which allegedly produces countless benefits, is evoked and evidenced, first of all, by the prophetesses at Delphi, thus recalling the close connection between the Apollonian shrine at Delphi and the philosophical self-knowledge required by Plato's Socrates. According to Griswold, Socratic prophecy seems to combine the human techne of division or dissection with the divinely given techne of madness. That is, it somewhat combines madness and sophrosyne. The Apollonian prophecy is inseparable from philosophizing, and hence from rhetoric in its expanded general sense, showing and leading souls by persuasion or imperative, like a sacrificial priest using the dialectical art of definition, division, and collection. Yet neither is the sacrificer to be viewed as a paradigm of theological understanding, nor the user of the art as rhetoric made subject to his own enchanting power of persuasion. However, they may become types of self-duped quote-unquote believers, or acquire the ideologically tinctured and therefore very quote-unquote orthodox ability to talk about quote-unquote truth, or virtually any subject, and so become difficult to be with. As Griswold correctly observes, Plato's Socrates seems to fear the canonization of a biblos, that is, the written words let us persuade ourselves too easily that we are in irrefutable possession of the truth, while in fact we are not. It facilitates our tendency to become dogmatists or zealots rather than philosophers. Under these conditions, philosophy can have the same corrupting influence that sophistry does, or worse. However, academic paranoia differs from prophetic madness. The so-called prophets, Theomantius Theoi, or Aristotle's Sibyllae kai Bacchides kai hoi enthoi pantos, fall into enthusiasmos, the state of a particular inspired ecstasy, and utter truths of which they themselves presumably know nothing. Hence, being entheos means that the body has a god or a daemon within, just as the Egyptian animated statue has a manifestation, ba, of a god, neter, within. Similarly, empsukos means that both the physical human body and the cultic body, the hieratic statue or the entire sanctuary, itself full of images, statues and hieroglyphs, have an animating, life-giving and self-moving principle, namely a soul, psyche, inside them. Orpheus is an example of one who is all these four kinds of inspiration or madness, according to Hermaeus, the Alexandrian Neoplatonist, whose commentary on Plato's Phaedrus reflects the views of his master, Syrianos. Since these four manii assist the soul in its ascent and return to its noetic fatherland, Hermaeus maintains that poetry and music are able to bring the disordered parts of the soul into order. The hieratic rites and sacramental mysteries of Dionysus make the soul whole and noetically active. Subsequently, the prophetic inspiration, Mantici mania, is provided by Apollo and gathers the soul together into its own unity. Hermaeus regards the charioteer in the Phaedrus myth as the noetic part of the soul, and the charioteer's head as the one within the soul, or the soul's ineffable hanatic summit, which alone may be united with the one. Thus finally, as Anne Shepherd explains, the inspiration of love takes the unified soul and joins the one within the soul to the gods and to intelligible beauty.